Is my level okay? Because I don't know if I'm close.
Your level's world class, bud. World class. You're on another level, Hekkie.
I was. Not now. I used to be.
You will forever now that you will be, bud. Hello and welcome to the Sias du Plessis show. Thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed. And of course to our partners at Betway. Check out betway.co.za. Download the Betway Scores app to be up to date with all the latest scores. And of course we're giving away 2 tickets to watch the Springboks in action. This year, Ireland, the All Blacks. I mean, you don't want to miss that. The Springbok tickets are already sold out. So these are like hen's teeth. They're like the golden goose's egg. You don't want to miss out on. So check out betway.co.za for more information. And of course, if you want to win, all you need to do is subscribe to the podcast on our YouTube channel. Find your favorite episode. We've done over 50 now. And comment, and you could win those 2 tickets to watch the 4-time world champions in action. Speaking of world champions, we've got a man who is a legend of the sport. He is a 2-weight division world champion. His record is astounding. 40 professional fights, 35 victories, just the 5 blemishes on that record, 11 stoppages. His name is Hekkie Budler. He is a legend. The Ring Magazine belt, 2 titles. Hekkie, it's been an incredible career. I know you've just called it, and it's only been a few days. But man, what a career. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me. Hi, all the viewers. It's been a great one. I enjoyed every bit of it, but it's time. It's time to stop now.
You've had a weekend, I suppose, now to sort of digest or process it. And I bought you a cup of coffee this morning. Made you one. Ginger Fox, anyway. You were telling me that it's still sinking in, right? And going to the gym is very different at the moment. Just take me there.
Yeah, normally when I went to the gym, I went there to go and train, to get ready for a fight or just to train. Now I go there to go and say hello. That's about it. Or to train a client or something. That's what I do now. It's a little bit different. I don't think it's really hit yet. I do understand that I'm done. I don't want to come out of retirement for anything, except if they pay me a few millions. That's a different story.
Dollars, right?
Yeah, dollars. That would be even better. But I think I've realized. I think I knew sooner that it was going to happen. I knew this early on because Colin set out. Well, how do I say that? He kept on cancelling on me when we should meet and when we should meet. So I think he knew. I knew in the back of my mind he wanted to have a serious talk about something.
And he's your barber also.
Yeah, he actually cut my hair. I think it was Friday.
Yeah, looking sharp.
Yeah, I'm looking good after that. But yeah, I think I've come to terms with it. I think it still really needs to hit me when, I don't have to get up at 3 in the morning to go and run. I can go and run whenever I want to. I can go to the gym whenever I really need to. Don't need to go to get fit for a fight or anything. I think then it's when it's gonna start eating me.
You mentioned Colin was avoiding you in a way. And shout out to Colin Nathan, one of our top trainers, top promoters, a good friend of mine. When it came down to it, did you kind of expect that was the conversation was about to go down like that, or maybe just take us there? Because I can't imagine it. I'm not a professional athlete. Neither is Ray, the executive producer. But when you're faced with the end of a chapter and the start of a new chapter, it's always going to be difficult.
Yeah, because a lot of people asked me. Colin got the same question. Is Hekkie done? Is there 1 or 2 more? My plan was to have 1 or 2 more. I'm being honest. I would have liked to try at least for another world title or have another fight. And when Colin said I think we chatted on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. But when he said, okay, have you got time? And I said, yeah, sure. He said, yeah, I just want to have a chat to you. We have to have the meeting now. I think I didn't know he was going to say, let's call it. But I think in the back of my mind, I had a feeling that was the plan. Because when he told me, I wasn't emotional. I'm not an emotional person, but there was nothing. I didn't feel anything. I was like, okay, it's cool. If that's what you want, that's what we get. Then I phoned my wife. I told him I'm going to phone my wife because I want her to hear it from you. And he told her he wants me to stop, and she started crying.
Oh, man.
So I think people around me took it a bit harder than me. But I always said from the day I turned pro, from when the first time I trained with Colin, I turned professional, when I had my first fight, Cole, will you promise me when you see me slipping, when you see me my timing going. Please tell me to stop. I told my parents the same thing and my wife, and I'll stop. I'm not going
From
to
your
try.
first professional fight.
I told them, I don't want to be one of those fighters who can't say a sentence, who struggles to talk, who has problems later on. I want to stop when they see it starting.
Okay.
I don't want to be in it and then take punches unnecessarily. And that's what Colin said. We actually had the talk. He said in the last fight he fought, he saw my timing slowing down, but he thought it was the weight cut. And after the first round, you could see that my timing was not 100% where it should be. And after the fight, the way it went, you could see that it really wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. That's why he wants me to call it. And I trust him. I trust Colin with my life. If you go in the ring as a fighter, your trainer, your manager, they're there to protect you. Give you advice and give you water. But if you get hurt, they should throw in the towel and stop the fight and get you ready to win.
Yeah.
So he's there he plays with your life. And I trust him with my life. And that's why I trust what he says. And I'm doing it.
Hekkie, if he had said to you after you said that to him, Hekkie, you're going to have 40 professional fights. You're going to win 35 of them and only lose 5. Would you have believed him at that time? I mean, it's easy now to say that because it's been an incredible career, man. And I applaud you. It's been world class. Personally, besides Brian Mitchell, you are on another level, my man. Had he said that 40 professional fights, you would have snapped his arm off.
I would have laughed at him, like straight. Like I said to a lot of people, my dream has always been to win the Ring Magazine belt. We've had Victor Will was the first one to win it, but when he won it, there was only one title, and that was the Ring Magazine belt. That was it. There wasn't any other belts. And then I saw a lot of guys fighting for world titles, the IBF, WBA, whatever the case may be. But no one's fighting to win the Ring Magazine belt. And that was my dream, to be unified champion and win the Ring Magazine belt. I never thought after just being 30 years old, few-time world champion, that it was going to happen. And it did happen. There was things that happened in the background for it to happen. But no, I never thought that if Colin told me I would have that record, that I would have had it. I would have always wanted to have it, even a better record if it was possible. Or I hate losing. So I would have liked not to lose a fight. But you have to lose. Rather lose in a boxing match than in life. No. Straight up answer now. I didn't think I would have had the career that I had.
You spoke of how much that Ring Magazine belt means to you. When you finally got it, I mean, that must have been a moment that, and you said you're not an emotional guy, but I can imagine after winning that you were incredibly emotional. Did it feel like everything you had worked for, the sacrifice, the birthday parties you had missed, the miles and miles and miles of running? As you can see, Ray and I don't enjoy running. But it must have been like, this is the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, most definitely. And it was hard for me to adjust after that victory, to get back to, now I have to train again to win something else. And that's the thing with boxing. You have to set goals, same as in life. You have to set goals to want to achieve something. And if you've achieved that, you want to set another goal, to want to do something else, to do better, to be better the whole time. But no, it's something else I can't explain. There's 2 things that I've always said has been better than winning the Ring Magazine belt. That was my marriage and the birth of my child. Those are the only 2 things that come close to beating that, and they have beaten it. Nothing else comes close to it. But yeah, it's something you can't explain to someone. It's like I've always said, the thing I'm going to miss most after retirement is having those butterflies in the stomach when you walk to the ring, hearing the people shouting. It's something I've tried to get, but I can't, and I think I'm going to miss that the most. But it's so similar to that type of thing when I won that belt. You can't explain it to someone. It's something you can't explain.
Take us through that pre-fight routine. Forget the weight cuts. You love weight cuts.
Everybody does.
But let's say now, weight cut's done. It's you're walking into the arena. You're the main card or the main event. What does that pre-fight routine look like? Because there's hand wrapping that needs to be done. There's hydration that needs to be done. You've got to eat. Take us there.
Oh, well, what I normally do is I get up, and the day of the fight, I'll have a nice breakfast in the morning, and then I like to eat 3.5 to 4 hours before the time of the fight. So it's quite hard to work that out. But I'd have a nice pasta. And then when you get to the arena, that's when when I drive, I used to fight at Empress Palace. So when I still, to this day, even if we go there to go and watch a show at Empress Palace, if we drive towards Empress Palace, I get butterflies in my tummy.
Okay.
Till this day. But it's the drive there gets butterflies. Then you get into the arena, say hello to whoever sees you. I get there quite early normally, before anybody's normally there, to go and sit in the dressing room and relax. But when you sit there and then Colin will say, okay, you start getting dressed. Because I wait for Colin to tell me what to do. I'm quite strict on that. Then you start, the butterflies start building up. Then you get your shoes on, your dress on, your pants on, your box, everything on. And then Colin comes and puts two chairs in front of each other, back to back, for your arm, to put your arm so you can start wrapping. And then you start wrapping your hands, and the butterflies start getting more. Then you see the first fight going. First guy walking, and you're looking at him walking to the ring. Then it's also a different mindset you have to think of. You're going to see the guy coming back. Is he going to be happy or is he going to be sad? When he's sad, you're like, oh, shucks, the guy lost.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he's happy he won. So that's also plays on your mind to see the guy coming in after he's lost. Like, oh, yes, now I have to go after this guy. Or, oh, he won. That's good. Now I'm ready. But I don't know. I can't explain that feeling.
Yeah.
The butterflies you get, the adrenaline you get. I've tried bungee jumping. I've tried a few other things. Nothing gets your butterflies pumping like that. Going to battle, there's nothing in the world that can replace that. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's hard to tell someone, if you're not a fighter, how that feels.
Is there much talking happening when Colin's wrapping your hands? Is there music in this change room? Or is it sort of silence? Is it all strictly business?
For me, it's different. A lot of people, even in training, a lot of people need music to train. A lot of, like you'll see in the gym, people have earphones on. I don't care. I don't need anything to train. When I'm training, my mind's set on training. So even in the dressing room, I don't care if there's music. It's what the other guys around me want. I'm completely in my own world, cut out, just focusing on the game plan we have. Yeah. That's all I'm thinking about the whole time. And when Colin wraps my hands, mostly he's talking about is how does my hands feel? Do they feel fine? Does it feel right? Does this feel okay? But when he's done with that wrapping, then I know then I have to switch on. Then it's game on, mind ready, everything starts shooting, start working, you start thinking. And that's when we'll start putting gloves on and start working on pads, warming up. That's when the warm-up starts. That's when you really start. Then the butterflies start feeling in your neck. You feel it everywhere. I don't know, it's a weird sensation.
It's go time.
Yeah, then you know, now it's time. Now you're getting ready.
And walking out to the ring, are you thinking about the game plan, still thinking about it? Or are you soaking up the atmosphere and waiting for the national anthems and that sort of thing? Because it's not the longest walk, is it, at Emperors? It's quite a short walk.
No, it depends where you are. Some of them are even shorter there, like just to the ring. But you just take it in. You just concentrate and try and relax. I think what I don't like to do is when I walk to the ring to think of things too much, because then you might overthink things. So I've tried to cut everything out of my mind by that time when I walk to the ring. Try not to think. Someone just hit someone's hand next to that. Just say thanks and good, and just to get your mind clear. That's what I try and do. But when you get into that ring and they play the national anthem, you still feel everything. You're so tense in that ring. The butterflies are so much. It's weird. Even when you go into the shake hands and the ref tells you don't low blow, don't do this. It's like you barely hear what he's saying. You're just focusing and thinking, oh, the fight's going to happen. The fight's going to happen. Till the bell rose. We had ding ding. Everything's gone. You don't think of anything except now I have to hit the guy and that's it.
Are you the type of guy that enjoyed, and I'm trying to explain in a way, a lot of guys like to feel a punch to wake them up. Not wake them up, but, to get them
into it, yeah.
Or do you like to sort of throw the first jab and try and put your authority on the fight? You know what I mean?
I've actually never thought of that.
Yeah.
I've a lot of people have spoken to me, they like to take the first shot or throw the first shot. When the bell rings, I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't need to take a shot or throw a shot. When the bell rings, I'm there. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I just need that bell to ring. Then I'm set.
And were you looking at feet? Are you looking at hands? Are you looking at eyes?
When I go to the middle of the ring to shake hands, I always look at my opponent in the eyes. Mm-hmm. But as we're walking, before we get to the middle of the ring, I look at what foot is in front, pointing towards me, because then I know if it's a southpaw or orthodox.
Okay.
Because you normally stand with your weaker foot in front, the way you'd box. That's why I would always stand southpaw when I shake hands. But when I'm in the center, I like to look the guy in the eyes and just keep on looking, like look down into his soul.
This is my house.
This is my home. This is what I want to protect. This is where I want to be.
And fighting on home soil, I know you spoke about Emperor's Palace. A lot of people say that's sometimes tougher in front of your home fans on home soil than where you fought. You fought Japan, Canada, Mexico, Philippines. I mean, you fought all over the world.
I think so, because in your home crowd, in front of your home fans, you wanna everyone's shouting for you. They're supporting you, so you wanna shine. So I understand that feeling, but I don't know. It's either way, it's the same for me. I think it's hard overseas as well because it feels like the people want to kill you when you walk into some of those arenas. Especially when I fought in Mexico, the people will sound like they hate me, and some of them, like in Mexico, the people sit so close to the ring.
Okay.
There's no barrier. It's like on the ring where the people sit, so you hear and feel everything on you. It's completely different, but I love that. I love that, fighting in someone else's backyard. I love that more. I like fighting from home crowds because I get the support. But to go into someone's backyard as an underdog when they think they should be knocking you out, I love that. I love being the underdog and surprising them, or how can I say this? Turning the tables on them, or
surprising
flipping the script.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think, I mean, fighting in places like Mexico and that, was Mexico the most hostile place you fought? Or, you know, if you think back in your career, you know, fighting in Japan, I assume, and from what you've told me off air, the Japanese are incredibly respectful, and it's all about sort of the process and the business, and whereas Mexico is a little bit more rowdy.
Yeah, no, Mexico is probably the hardest ever because if you look at the crowd, they're like on the ring, and they sound like they want to kill you before you get into the ring. If you hurt that boxer, they're going to hurt
Spanish.
you. Yeah, you don't understand anything, but yeah. But what I liked about fighting, I have to say this as well, what I liked about fighting in Mexico was the people are so loud, and when they see you do well, they actually start supporting you.
Okay.
When I fought in South Africa, in East London, it's the same thing. If you come from Gauteng fighting in East London, or you go from East London fighting in Gauteng, it's like two different countries. It's a big boxing rivalry, the two provinces.
Yeah.
When I fought there as well, the people were like, yes, they hated me. Until they saw, okay, he's actually quite good, and they started supporting me. They love their boxing, and they're so well knowledge in boxing, same as Mexico, that people started supporting me and started booing their own fighter. But yeah, Mexico is probably the rowdiest crowd, but I'm more known there. People in the street started stopping me and asking me for an autograph. Where in South Africa, 1 in 100 people know who I am.
Yeah.
Over there, more people know. And in Mexico, like you said, they're so respectful, and people don't even look you in the eye. It's just their culture. They say it's disrespectful. The first time I went there, because when I run in South Africa, like when I go for the run on the road, you run past someone, you greet them, they greet you back. They are greeting people, and they're all looking away. I'm like, what are all these people doing? And then later on, they told me, no, it's disrespectful. I felt so bad afterwards. But another thing that was what I enjoyed about Japan is everything is time-based. If they say the weighing starts at 12, 10 past 12, the guys are getting on the scale. 10 to 12, I mean.
Yeah.
If they say the boxing starts at 7, 10 to 7, the first fight's happening. Everything happens exactly on time.
Yeah.
Because they're very respectful, and it's so disrespectful if you come late or do anything late. So that was actually quite, I enjoyed that. It was something different experience, but I really enjoyed that. It was different, but it was fun.
Did you, at the end of your fights, I mean, regardless of the outcome, did you feel welcomed? Because both countries, even the Philippines, I mean, they've got steeped in boxing history. Some of the greatest boxers have come out of these countries and continue to do so. Did you feel welcomed at the end? And because there you are, not millions, but thousands of kilometers away from home in a foreign country, up against their prized fighter, you flip the script, and they recognize you. They recognize the skills. They recognize that this guy from Africa has come all this way, and he can box.
Yeah, it does happen. Like I said, in Mexico, people stop me, also autograph. After the fight, actually, we walked to I think it was some shop. I think it was a garage, actually, that we walked to go get something to eat, some chocolates, because I just wanted something sweet. And a cop actually stopped me that watched the fight and took photos with me in Mexico. In the Philippines, was a bit weird because I got robbed in that fight really bad.
Yeah.
It was a bad decision and bad refereeing and things. And some of the people, the Filipino people, actually came to me and told me, "We're so sorry that this happened to you." So it's that's when you know that people do understand boxing, and it was actually quite cool. It's a nice feeling to have that people in their own country can understand when things are wrong and they come and tell you. But yeah, I still love my country. I still love South Africa, and I love the people here. Like I said, when I jog in here, when I greet someone, everyone greets you back. In other countries, it's weird. People don't.
Hekkie, what's next now? The professional side of competing is over, but I do get the feeling that you're never going to be far away from boxing in some shape or form. If it's training, if it's promoting, if it's playing your part, giving back an incredible amount of information and a wealth of experience back into boxing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm training a few people now. That's what I enjoy doing. And I've spoken to Colin, and he said he wants me to stick to boxing. He wants me to stay in the sport in some way. I trained these two kids, the Infeld ones, Connor and Danny, SA champions, very good, talented young boys. They're 13 years old. That I believe are future world champions if they stick to it. And I'm helping them mold their career. I'm involved in them, and I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying training these guys and youngsters that want to do and want to train box. Even guys that are just, and ladies, I have to say, that are just wanting to be fit, and they find boxing is a good stress reliever in the first place and helps you stay fit and lose weight and things. So I'm doing that, and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy staying active and staying busy. So I will stay part of boxing in some way, some shape or form. That is the plan. God willing, everything works out, and I stay involved.
Hekkie, tell me, you mentioned the two twins now coming up through the ranks. When you were 13, 14, I know that you fell in love with boxing. But who did you look up to? Is someone like Brian Mitchell the type of guy you looked up to? Because, I mean, as you were well pointed out, two South Africans in the Hall of Fame. One is a boxer, one's a referee.
Yeah.
But Brian Mitchell was, I suppose, the rock star of that sort of back in the day.
Yeah, when I grew up, I think it was just after I watched all his videos. And I have to say, when I was young, because I'm so short, I always looked up to Uncle Baby Jack McClellan. It was my weight, actually, the same weight division. But yes, definitely. But if you talk about South African boxing without mentioning Brian Mitchell, you don't know boxing.
Yeah.
You literally don't know South African boxing. But I also did my research, like the Tuwiels were outstanding fighters. My brother, actually, that stays in Australia and boxes with Hawk Makapula, who's also another legend. We've had so many great fighters, but for me personally, the guys I looked up to, definitely Uncle Brian. Sorry for saying Uncle Brian, it's just the way I brought up Uncle Baby Jack McClellan, definitely. And I have to say, internationally, was Oscar De La Hoya. He was my favorite fighter as a youngster. And I enjoyed Prince Nazim Hamed. His flamboyancy, the way he jumped into the ring and never picked up his hands was also fun for me. And my fighting style was usually, when I was, especially as an amateur, was come forward and throw a million shots. So I watched a lot of Mexican fighters, actually. Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. I watched them because they came forward and just threw punches and threw punches and threw punches. And that's what I did as an amateur boxer. And Colin had to teach me to be able to box, to move and change. But I enjoyed my amateur career. It was fun for me. I started boxing, I think, when I was 7 years old. I couldn't play any other sports. I hated losing. I played one game of rugby. We lost, and I didn't want to play with them anymore. So they told my dad... I
think you made the right decision.
Yeah, I should do a sport. If I lost, it was my own fault. And my dad said, okay, then we're going to start boxing. And I fell in love with it. Yeah, I think my last amateur book, I had 150 amateur fights.
I was about to say, it's up there.
No, I enjoyed my amateurs. It was fun.
What's your advice to an amateur out there? I mean, the two twins that you involved with, but what's your advice to them? Because no one can teach you what you've learnt in your 40 professional fights and 150 amateur fights. What is your advice to them?
Well, to listen to your coaches and work hard. The thing about boxing, it's like any other sport, that it's almost like any other sport in a way, where you get advice from everybody. Like, everybody outside is a better trainer than your own trainer. That's just how life is. A rugby player, soccer player, guys who do the MMA, it's exactly the same. Someone that's never laced up a pair of gloves knows more about boxing than the trainers do. So listen to the people that are around you that know what they're doing, and take all the advice you can get, but make sure you keep the right stuff, the stuff that makes sense, and work hard. It's a sport that like I was saying when we were talking off air, when I was younger, I had to give up going to parties, going to my friends' birthdays because I couldn't go because I was in training camps or training for essays and things like that. So things if you want to achieve and do well in the sport, you're going to have to do that. Give up a lot to be able to do what's good. If you look at the greatest fighter of our generation is Floyd Mayweather, who's 50-0, is 49-0 actually, but say 50-0.
Conor. McGregor, wasn't it?
He got his 50th. Conor's a great fighter.
Yeah.
It's still not the same game. It's not the same sport.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it. But I enjoyed every second of it, and it's like I was saying about Floyd. That guy got up at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning to go and run When we were sleeping, that guy's running. He's training. So that's what you have to do to achieve something in this game. Really work hard.
And he's cashed in.
Exactly.
Now he can do what he wants.
What's forever, yeah.
It's interesting you say the unbeaten records because as you do on a Sunday morning, as someone like me approaching my 40s, you do crosswords, right? And one of the crosswords came up, 8 letters, a professional fighter that had a record of 24-0. 8 letters. And the first 3, it was broken up, so it was 3 letters and 5 letters. And I was like, I'm trying to think. So it got me thinking, how many fighters have, and I'll give you the answer now.
Venezuelan.
No, American. Yeah, famous lineage, let's put it that way. 24-0. But I'll give you the answer later on. But it got me thinking, how many people have got perfect records? There's not many.
No, not a lot, no.
I think in total, it's like just over 7. I think I speak under correction, 7 or 8. And I speak under correction. But it's not a lot. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And you speak of a guy like Floyd Mayweather, 49-0. And along the way, he hasn't fought tomato cans, as you guys well put it. He's fought some top dogs. And then you look at, there's a few people that have done that record. And a guy like Brian Mitchell, 49-1, for example. It's still an amazing feat. How much of that record is important to professional boxers? And I think fighters, MMA, whatever you want, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever you want to, it's all about the record at the end of the day. So I assume that when you get to a point in your career and you're going, I haven't tasted defeat yet, is there a part of your brain that goes, hey, maybe I can go, and keep that perfect record? Is that something that you do think of, or is it a lot more simpler than it's one fight at a time? I know that's the cliche. And a lot of fighters will talk about, and athletes talk about, that they talk about their legacy. Ego is a big part of it. But at one point when you were fighting, you thought, maybe there's a way.
Yeah, I was undefeated, I think, for, let me just think, 16 or 17 fights, I think. And I lost to a guy that I beat twice as an amateur, that everyone thought I was going to walk over, and that beat me. It depends. Like I said, the reason I started boxing is because I hated losing. Most people that do an individual sport hate losing, so they have to do it themselves. It's a sport that you do yourself. I don't know, so I think some people thrive on having the undefeated record. I don't. I didn't care. If someone was better than me, they beat me. I'm happy with that. It doesn't bother me. But some guys like Floyd had a brilliant record. He beat some of the best guys in the world. But if you look at the time he fought them, he fought like Oscar De La Hoya. He fought when Oscar was done. Fought Pacquiao when Pacquiao was almost done. So he was a clever guy. He was a very clever. I've seen Floyd lose a fight. They gave him the fight. He lost it. Against Castillo, he lost. But it's not on his record. I don't really care about that. But so I think every person's different. It never got me. It's the first time I lost as an amateur, I actually cried. I was very upset. But I think that's life. That's when I was still a kid though. But I think you get used to it. And I'd rather lose in a boxing ring, a fight, than being someone like Floyd that nobody really likes. Okay. I'm not being ugly. It's a truth. Not a lot of people like him. I don't want to have that type of attitude that I think I'm better than you or I'd rather be a Rocky Marciano.
Okay.
People loved him. He was also undefeated. But no, I don't know. I think it's different for everybody. I didn't bother me. I always trained not to lose.
Yeah.
I never went in there, if I lose, I lose. I wanted to win every time. And I did get upset when I lost. I don't know.
I mean, some of the greatest...
It happens.
I mean, you think of Sugar Ray, right? Arguably one of the greatest of all time.
Sugar Ray Robinson, probably the best ever. He also lost.
He lost a lot, Exactly.
So,
when you delve into the whole record thing, for some people, it's the be-all and end-all. For other people, it's about what show did I put on? And I imagine you also felt a little bit of pressure to put on a show at times.
Yeah, that's always what I've said. I hope people will, now that I've retired, enjoyed every single one of my fights. I didn't go in there to go and make it look boring. I like to be in a fight. I like to get hit and hit you back. That's what I enjoy. I don't like running around not getting hit. I like to be in a proper fight that the people enjoy.
Yeah.
Because that's what boxing is. It's same as MMA, same as, like you said, kickboxing. It's people pay to watch you fight. and you have to be exciting. Otherwise, they're not going to watch. And my problem is I don't go in and knock people out in the first round. So I don't have that. So I have to make it exciting another way. So
Especially in the
fight.
lower weight divisions, it's about the putting on the show, the points, the skills, the cardio. Speaking of people paying to see things, what do you make of this whole YouTubers versus sort of old former fighters? What do you make of it all? Is it good for boxing? Is it something that creates the hype? Because you still have a lot of people. I mean, look at Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
for me, I hate the idea. I really do.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. If you're a boxing enthusiast, like a pure boxing, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're not. It's because even I think it shouldn't happen. Especially if people say, especially for Mike Tyson. No. If Mike Tyson loses, his reputation is sealed. These fights don't count anything on his record. But if you're a Jake Paul who's now trying to make it in boxing, you're talking a big game, you're fighting a 60-year-old guy. If you beat him, you've beaten a 60-year-old guy.
It's an old man. All due respect.
If you lose to him, you've lost to it.
Yeah.
What's better? There's not one part of it that sounds good.
Yeah.
So it's good for boxing because people watch, and it's also bad for boxing. Easy way I can say, one of my friends actually fought on a show from a Kaspanov's show. It's the most he's been paid, and he got more people watching him fight than he's ever had, just because he was a fight before Kasper.
Yeah.
So that's good. That was brilliant. But how much does Kasper make compared to him? That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's the same in South Africa. Internationally, if you look at a guy like the Paul brothers, when they fight, they make probably triple than the rest of the guys on the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a plus and a minus. It's not good for the fighters that really put their lives, like me. I've been doing this since 7 years old.
Yeah.
Most other fighters have been doing it since a young age. And they're getting paid. In the States, the guys get paid a lot, but like 10 million, where this guy's making 50 million.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference. It's a massive difference. So it's a plus and a minus. It's like up and a down.
Yet we're talking about it. And I suppose that's their objective is here we are sitting in Johannesburg, South Africa, talking about this fight. I'm more on the purist side. I would like to see, the best in the business doing the business. Even Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou.
Pointless.
Look, I still wanted to see it because of Ngannou's MMA background.
But also, everyone thought that it was because of what he did to Tyson Fury.
True.
They thought, he's got a chance here. But if you know Tyson Fury and you watch him that fight, it's not the same guy was fighting there.
Yeah.
I think Tyson, what he was doing in that fight, probably trained for 3-4 weeks. He thought he was going to be like what Floyd did to Conor, dance around, look good for a few rounds, and that's what he thought was going to happen, and it didn't. And when he fought against Joshua thought, okay, this is going to be a fight. I'm going to have to proper camp and train hard. It would have gone the same way, but for Ngannou, if they went in a cage, it would have been exactly the same. He would have knocked Joshua's head off in a cage.
Yeah.
It's not the same sport.
That's true.
But like you said, we still watched.
We still watched, exactly. And they still made millions in pay-per-view.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think, for me, I don't mind celebrities or influencers fighting each other. You know what I mean? But separate the two. Look, Jake Paul, based on what we've seen, has he really been tested yet?
One fight and he lost against a guy who's not actually a boxer.
Yeah, so does he actually have the skill set? Is the question.
Yeah, he's calling out Canelo, so I honestly don't know.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've got no problem. Celebrities fighting, celebrities of Casper fighting whoever he wants to fight or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that lives on its own world.
What Casper has been doing is getting eyes to watching boxing, getting fighters, getting more money and getting more eyes on the boxers doing it. And he's been fighting other celebrities.
Yeah.
He's been doing it brilliantly and he's enjoying it. And it's good for the sport. But when you have these guys, like you say, the Paul brothers who are fighting against retired guys that should never come back into boxing or any other type of sport, it's just not fair. It's just not right to those guys because you can still get hurt in a boxing ring.
Can I ask you this, Hekkie? So the UFC does the BMF belt, right?
Yeah.
Do you think boxing would ever see something like that? Or is there too many organizations, too much politics? Because
Most
I
definitely
would
too many
love to see
politics.
a BMF belt. And I mean, back in the day, you could have had Tyson fighting for that belt because he is the baddest mother, trucker. Who would you like to see fight for that belt if it happened one day?
Well, at the moment,
Just-
there's a fight that everyone's talking about already. It's, what's his name? The Mexican Monster against Canelo Alvarez.
Okay.
The fight that everyone wants to see, but Canelo's fighting someone else now. Because, what's his name, man?
The Mexican, let me Google that.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but
Mexican Monster.
he wants to fight against Canelo.
I like
He's
that.
like 40 and something, or something. I can't remember his name now.
Mexican Monster.
I think it's, they call him, that's what they call him. I don't know if it's his real nickname.
Oh, we'll find him now.
But if you just say someone that wants to fight Canelo the whole time, that's someone that I can see winning that
Is
belt.
it David
Benavides,
Yeah,
that's it.
okay.
He's someone that you'd see winning
have a
that
look
type
here.
of belt. But then also you got a fighter that's called Arthur Beterbiev, who's the
He's 28 and 0 and
Exactly.
24 knockouts.
exactly. But then you look at a guy like Arthur Beterbiev, who's I think 18 or 19 of 90 knockouts. He's won all his fights by knockout.
Jeez.
He's fighting against.
Okay, so we could have a
there's some
BMF
good
belt
fights.
in boxing.
Exactly, there can also be one in boxing. But like you said, there's so many politics. There's 4 legitimate world titles, and then some of the guys that have their own belts that they make for some fights. Like the number one guy, the WBC had a diamond belt for when Floyd fought someone as well. So I don't think it will ever happen. But
Yes, there's a lot of
yeah,
different
there's,
organizations.
yeah, there's too many organizations in boxing. That's a big problem. You have guys who are world champions, but they fight for a belt that no one's ever heard of. But he's literally a world champion. That's why they separated the top 4, the IBF, WBA, WBC, and the WBO. That are the 4 top ones. But that's why when like we were talking earlier, that's why I always wanted to win the Ring Magazine belt, because when you win the Ring Magazine belt, you're the number 1 fighter in a division.
Most legit belt
Exactly.
out there.
That's the
Absolutely.
number 1 champion.
And you, sir, have that belt. So
Yeah.
history will never deny you that. It'll
Amen.
always
Thank
be.
you.
What I would like to find out from you, Hekkie, you talk about your career, and I think people immediately think when you win a world title, you win millions of dollars, right?
I wish.
Yeah, but it's not been the case, right? I mean, it's not that you living in a mansion in Mauritius, right? You know what
I'm
I mean?
actually staying quite close to Newlands, which is not a classy suburb, but
I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
know, boxing has been kind, but it's also been cruel, right? In a way, because you haven't reaped the rewards
Yeah, like-
that you are due to you, right?
yeah, when I look at some of the other guys that are world champions or world champions in brackets, like the titles I was talking about that don't count for anything, that are millionaires, and I'm gonna have to work. Like I was saying earlier, I train people for work.
Yeah.
I have to work. My wife has to work. I made a good profit my last fight when I fought against Kinshon and I lost. As the most I've ever been paid. It's not enough for me to like just retire and stop
Sure.
working like a Floyd Mayweather can, but it's enough for me to make sure that my daughter can go to have a tertiary education one day, because we put the money away. Our house is paid off, our cars are paid off. So we're just paying for school now, which never gets easier, like most parents know. But yeah, no, it's been, I've had it up and down, some good fights, some people say I've been screwed a bit, but that's life. I don't blame anybody. I've had good fights, I've enjoyed my time, and it's not a bother with me that I have to work to make a living, because I don't think if I made so much money, what would I have been doing? Sitting at home doing nothing. No, have to be busy and active, so why not? I'm enjoying
Okay.
it, so yeah.
The reason I ask that is because there's Hekkie Budler on the one scale, a retired, one of the greatest of all time to come out of South Africa. And then you've got a lot of boxers that are here trying to get the attention, trying to put in the hard yards. And they have to supplement their income, because there's actually not a lot of money in boxing, especially for
Yeah, to
those
start,
trying to
no.
find their way up, right? And for me, boxing has got some of the most incredible stories. I mean, there's guys that have been to prison, that have come back, that have been shot, that have been in ICU, that have come... it's insane. Boxing and combat sports have those stories.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize how... They think it's glamorous. They think they see you with a belt, they see you hand raised, and they think, geez, this is the easiest thing in the world. But it's not that, right? It's bloody hard.
Yeah, I know. Like,
And to make it is even harder.
when I trained for a fight. I had a 16-week camp that I trained every single day.
Wow, 16 weeks.
That like on a Sunday, people say, oh, you have to have a rest day. Sunday was my rest day, but I'd go for the Sunday morning run at 3 or 4 in the morning for my 10K run, and then that's the rest day. When I'm done with that, then I'm resting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard work. It's not always the glam, and if you look at a lot of fighters, most fighters have retired that don't have a lot of money. It's just how it works out. There's a lot to do. If you know how to promote yourself, and if you've got the right backing, the right people behind you, you can make it. You can make a lot of money. But that was never the plan for me. I did this because I loved it. I enjoyed pushing myself. I enjoyed testing myself. I enjoyed putting in the hard yards and having to work hard to win. That's what I enjoy doing. But it's been good for me. Boxing has been good for me. I've had, like I said, we've been able to pay off our cars, pay off the house, and live quite comfortably. Not, like I said, in a mansion or anything like that. But I've been able to have a good life, a decent life, and I've enjoyed it. That's the most important part, is enjoying life. Because life is so short, you have to enjoy it.
Hekkie, I've got to ask you, I think in your career, we speak about the Soto victory in Mexico, the other sort of amazing highs that you've had, but you must have, is the Ring Magazine belt one of the, I know you mentioned your daughter's birth and getting married, but is there another moment that really stands out for you where you go, geez, I'm proud of myself? You know, like when I close my eyes and leave this earth one day, I'll be proud of myself.
Yeah, there's 3 fights that I can, if we're talking boxing, there's 3 fights. There was the first world title fight. It's the IBO world title fight against Jonito Rublar. I think he had 60 or 80 fights. It was my 15th.
Wow.
And I beat him. And I watched that fight a few times over and over. I still think I won. There was some dispute that I lost, and they gave me a robbery. So we had a rematch, and I beat him in the rematch convincingly. Then it was when I fought for the Ring Magazine belt in Japan. That was just when I won that 3 world titles. While 2 world titles in the Ring Magazine belt was the first South African to win a unified world title. Was something special. Was just out of this world. And then I have to say, when I fought Soto, because I went to Mexico to go and lose, I was there for him to fight me, beat me, and go and be the #1 challenger for the WBC world title. That was the plan. That was what I was going to be there for. And it backfired on them. Yeah, that was just another moment that made me very, very proud. Yeah, those 3 are the standouts for me.
Yeah, man, it's incredible just to see how passionate you are when you tell that story. Just to wrap up with, Hall of Fame is obviously the holy grail for a lot of boxers, and like I said, we've only got 2 South Africans. What would it mean to you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Because I certainly think you have an excellent case. Based on your record alone.
It would be an honor, absolute honor, but probably the biggest honor as a boxer, or as any sportsman, to be inducted into any Hall of Fame. If it happens, I'll be forever grateful, but if it doesn't, I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed every moment of it. For a lot of, another thing I can say for a lot of fighters, like you said about the guys coming up, enjoy it, because it's short. Boxing career is extremely short, so enjoy it. Don't always care about the money. Have fun. Enjoy every single second of it. So they're like, to answer the question, it will be amazing, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I enjoyed every second of what I did. I loved it.
Hekkie Budler, you've had an amazing career. I want to applaud you for representing South Africa, for being one of the nicest guys in the sport. You're always approachable. Interviewed a few times, and I'm sure this is not the last time I'll have you on the show, so thank you so much. To get back to that crossword, like I said, because I'm, reaching a big milestone in my life, it's Layla Ali.
Ah, yeah.
So she's 24-0,
yeah, retired,
and I was like 8 and retired, and I was like, I had to Google it but I'm just going like, we tend to forget even in women's boxing that there's some phenomenal world champions that have come through.
The thing with Layla, which a lot of people will say as well, is when she was the pioneer, actually, for women's boxing. There was a few other women that did great as well, but Layla, because of who she was the pioneer. She didn't fight, I think, as hard a fight as she could have fought today, definitely. But she beat those put in front of her. She did what she had to do to win.
And she had immense pressure on her shoulders just by virtue of being...
She actually trained when I turned professional. Before I turned professional, I was on the national team, and we went to go and train by Colin's gym, and she was there. And there was almost a fight. My dad almost knocked... I wanted to eat her ex-husband at the time. Because they said my dad was supposed to leave. No one was supposed to watch her train. It was actually quite weird. But yeah. No, she was actually a great fighter. For the way she moved and things was actually great. And she was great for women's boxing.
Yeah.
We have another... woman actually trains with me, head of hormones. I think should win this year world title.
Yeah,
should have been a world
she's
champion.
undefeated.
Yeah, great fighter, probably the top women's fighter in the country. God willing, she gets a shot. It's just with the rand being so weak, it's hard to get the people to come and fight you. So hopefully, Colin can pull a few strings, get her a fight overseas somewhere, so she can become a world champion, which I believe she can do. And God willing, it happens for her.
Yeah, just in case you're watching somewhere else in the world, our currency, the rand, is 19 rand to $1. So that just gives you an idea of what we're up against when you're trying to get these big, like the UFC to Africa, to have the big fighters come here, just in boxing.
But even like we were saying about having trickers fighting in Africa will cost so much money.
Yeah.
And like I said, the money's so weak, we weren't able to have the ticket sales that they would be able to have in the States. It's just, it's so different. It's hard.
That's why I still think we're going to see trickers fighting Adesanya in the US or in Australia or somewhere first with a rematch potentially here. But who knows? Hekkie Budler, you've been an absolute legend. You are a legend.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for being such an incredible champion.
Thanks so much. And hopefully next time I come on here, I'll have my own champion sitting next to me.
I have no doubt.
God willing. Thanks so much. And thank you for everything you do for the sport of fighting, any type of fighting, and for what you've done for boxing as well.
Hekkie, thanks for your time, man. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also available on Spotify and iTunes. Remember, Betway, our partners, have got 2 tickets for you up for grabs to watch the Springboks in action. Like, subscribe, go to your favorite episode. It might even be this one. Comments, and you could win. We'll see you again next time.